Well, two of the triplets, Bobby and David, join us now because, sadly, you lost Edward in 1995. But this is the most extraordinary story, a story that, if you saw it as a movie script, you would never believe it. And so it starts September 1980, Bobby's first day at college. And so if you're in your first day at college, the last thing you expect is to be hugged, to have people kissing you, girls kissing you, coming up to you, high-fiving you.
Well, I know my name, so everyone's welcoming back as Eddy and saying, well, what are you doing back? Because he had been there and left, and it was sort of a party school. And,
well, so that's the extraordinary thing, is that you walk in there first day, he's already been there and left, and so they all know him.
They all know me as him.
Yes, precisely. So what do you do from there, then? How does it begin to unfold?
Well, everything just took on a sort of dreamlike quality, and when you're having a dream, you go with it, right? So that's what I did. I went with it. People said, hi, Eddy. I'm not Eddy, but 1,000 people said that, and the 1,001st was a guy named Michael, who was a sweetheart, and he knew Eddy from the year before and was close with him and knew that Eddy had been adopted and knew Eddy's birthday. So Michael had been hearing about all over campus that Eddy's back and he's crazy and he thinks he's not himself, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh,
so he knocked on my door. I turned around, and as soon as I turned around, he just lost it. And when he regained speech, he just said, were you adopted? And I told him yes, and he asked my birthday, and he said, I think you have a twin brother. And we called Eddy, and it was this very surreal conversation.
Is that where you got the speeding ticket on the way over to that house?
Yes.
Understandably so.
Get in there so fast.
We actually tried to explain this to the cop. Is there a reason why you're going 100 miles per hour? Well, yes, I'm going to meet my identical twin brother that I was separated from at birth and just found out about it on the way. And he's, here you go.
Yes, yeah.
Drive safely.
I don't believe that story.
It was absolutely 100% true.
So this then becomes a massive story. It's big across the states, and you know, the brothers that were separated, you were all bizarrely 45 minutes apart and never bumped into each other. And so
there were some near misses, actually.
Were there? I bet there were. And so you in all the papers, and then in comes the third brother because it's spotted in the paper.
Well, I spotted it in the paper. A friend had showed it to me, and I didn't believe it. And similarly, when you hear your own voice on a recording, sometimes you don't think it sounds really like you. And you see a picture of you, and you think, well, you know, it's the old story, everybody's got a twin. Couldn't be. It was just too uncanny to be believable. And I went to school, and I ran into a buddy of mine who has since become a buddy of ours. He's in the film, actually. And we'd known each other since we were 4 years old, and to him it was just unmistakable, just from the outside looking in. And the newspaper, it had the pictures, but it didn't have date of birth, didn't have the hospital, didn't have the adoption agency. And when I had gotten home, my mother had another newspaper that didn't have the picture, but it had the adoption agency, the date of birth, and the hospital, and instantly we knew.
So then that's how your sort of in is with the two of them. So you see that in the paper, you then discover them, and then what's amazing to me is there's going to be so many similarities in your genes, in your DNA, but the fact that you were all wrestlers at one point of your lives, you all smoked the same brand of cigarettes, you all liked the same colour, you had the same taste in women, this is crazy that you are so similar, obviously, and are so near to each other, but haven't ever met.
You know, and that's why a dear friend of ours, this guy named Dimitri, he said, he was describing it, he said, they met each other, but they met themselves.
You already
know, we met ourselves,
well,
and it was we were so similar, and everything just clicked.
As we said here, and this is all forming part of the movie, there is a dark side to this, because as Rochelle said, you know, you have all these similarities. And maybe because of the fact that we all know that there are similarities between twins and triplets, that you could have been you apparently appear to have been part of what is quite a dark experiment, which you discovered at a meeting. Your parents furious because we've never been told anything about this. We didn't know that there was another one or two more. So go in there, have the meeting. Well, we had to split them up, leave the meeting. Father forgets an umbrella, goes back into the meeting, and they've cracked open a bottle of champagne. Phew, we've dodged the bullet, we've got away with this. That was the start of something very dark.
Right. Well, when we were offered for adoption, our parents had adopted an older sister. So they were approached again by the same agency and said, we have another child for you. There's just one thing. We've been following the child as part of a normal study of adopted children. Would it be okay if we place this child in your home if we continued to follow him?
So it wasn't an outright condition, but it was an implied.
Who would say no?
So
Yeah.
individually, all three of you, someone came around, you were all individually studied.
Filmed.
They were filmed.
Tested, and intelligence tests, square pegs, round holes, all that stuff, until we were about between 8 and 11, and just said no more. We didn't want to do it anymore.
So a newspaper reporter finds an obscure study that twins and triplets have been separated. This is a highly secret study. It's kept currently, you've seen bits of it, but lots was redacted at Yale University. It's not open until 2065.
Presumably when we'll all be dead.
And so I'm also assuming if you were part of that study, whatever it was, of children who were separated from each other, there will be others in America.
There are.
Do you know how many?
We have an idea. The adoption agency that was involved went out of business.
Yeah.
But they were connected with another agency, the Jewish Board of Children and Family Services, and they were the custodians of those records. They were placed in Yale University and locked up until 2065, as you said. There are other people that are going to be looking for the records. There are other people that are going to be looking for a dialogue, probably with the Jewish Board. We began a dialogue with the Jewish Board. They sent out an apology of sorts.
Well, you guys
To our knowledge at this point,
to know,
to our knowledge, that there were 13 people involved. However, we are learning new things as this is
time
continuing
goes
to unfold.
Well, certainly
Sure you will.
your movie is going to open it up to a much wider
has-
audience, put
it
that
has
extra
unfolded quite a
pressure
bit.
on. The only good thing here is thank goodness you found each other,
Yes.
and that by chance and by luck, you could have gone through your lives and never ever known, but at least you did.
Well, the story needed to be told.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It really did.
Well, it is an incredible
to
story,
see
and
it.
it's called Three Identical Strangers. It is out in cinemas on Friday, and thank you guys very much.
Thank you. So
Thank you.
nice to meet you.